Finally a new project that isn't a cuckoo clock. This is a most unusual clock. For me, I haven't seen one of these before. It's a Majak brand, M-A-J-A-K, made in the U.S.S.R. Over on the back here it says 1965. That was the time of President Gorbachev and his glasnost and perestroika. This clock was made 24 years before the Berlin Wall came down. So it'll be rather interesting to see what the mechanism looks like inside. The case is crystal, the base is bakelite, and it's looking pretty dull after all the years. We'll clean that up before that goes back in. We'll wash that in some warm soapy water, get rid of a lot of the top of it there. Then we'll rub it down with a piece of soft cloth with a little bit of brasso, and that'll take most of the top off. Then I'll run it over the polisher that I use to finish off the plates and dishes, etc., that I turn out on my wood lathe. Alright, we're going to take this to pieces in a moment, but the hands seem to turn. I'll turn them around and see how they go. They're a little bit tight, but they do turn alright. The back plate seems to be in pretty good nick. We'll see if the key winds, which it does. Now I'll have a listen and we'll see. Yep, the movement's working. I can hear it ticking. You can't. It's very, very quiet. So let's start off the project by removing the case from the stand. And I'll start that by loosening off these two screws here, and the clock should just lift straight off. Alright, I'll put that down for a moment. There's our bakelite base underneath. No markings on it of any type or brand or anything, so probably made in quite a different factory, I would imagine. These pieces here I think will come up relatively well with some fine steel wool. I'll very carefully run over those later. We'll see what we can do about it. That's come up a bit better. These are nickel plated, by the way, they're not chromed. Chromium plating was invented up towards the beginning of the Second World War, but nickel plating was always the big thing in the early 1900s, and it still is on this clock base here. Those two screws there, one there and one there, we loosen those, then we can pull the legs out, clean them up and put them back in again. So alright, now we're going to start taking the clock to pieces, and I think that those two, no, it's pretty loose. Oh yeah, there'll be a screw for that inside, I'll bet. They won't come off. Looks like we'll have to take this knob off that sets the hand, and we'll have to unscrew the winding key, and then there's three, and I don't think that's one, I think it's those three there. I think those three screws there hold the movement inside the case. So let's start off on that and see how we go. Alright, I'll unwind the key first, as usual, very easily. Wind it backwards, comes straight off. Now, this knob, I assume, yes, is a friction fit. There it is. I'll put that in another tub over there. Now we're going to undo those three screws now. So we'll see how much purchase we can get on them and then remove them. It seems to be coming out pretty easily. There we go. All right, it's not a screw, it's a little piece that screws down on the top of it. All right, not a problem. You can see the threaded section in there. Get the second one out of there. I wonder if they're brass or not. It's pretty hard to see. They might be brass. We'll have a look at that later on, and if so, then we'll run some steel wool over them and clean them up. This was a wedding present for some friends of mine and Georgie's who lived just down the road. They came over from England. I think they were married 71, I think, in the UK, and then they came over. There we go. And there you can see the movement working. I'll take the glass off, put it over there, and there's a little movement, an oversized watch movement by the look of it. You can see the hairspring turning there. Now, I don't know how many jewels it has, if it has any or not, but we're about to find out that relatively soon. It's got some information on there, but I'll put that closer up under my microscope and we'll have a look and see what that says. But there's the movement in there with the spring, so I'm going to have to contain that, and I don't think I've got a clamp small enough, but I'm going to have a look now and then I'll come back. Nope, I haven't got a mainspring clamp that'll fit it. This is the smallest one I've got, and it needs to be bigger than that and smaller than the other one, so I'll have to make one. And then once I've made it, we'll come back and we'll continue with this video. The mainspring has been contained now, as you can see. So we'll start taking the movement apart. We'll start off by removing the winding key, get that out of the road. Now I've got the right size spanner here, 5mm. It just fits. So I'll loosen off these nuts on this plate here, this triangular plate that sits on the top of the spring. And then we'll be able to remove the spring once this is done. That's better. We'll get a dish to put those in. Remove the nuts. It's still a little bit tight, that guy. Oh, that's better. And the third one down here. Now we can take that plate off. There'll be a little bit of pressure in there possibly, but not very much. Get that, there we go, that's off. You can see the spring seems to be in reasonably good condition. All the leaves are nice and round and smooth, but later on we'll take that apart, we'll clean it and grease it and get it ready to go back in again. Now, the teeth on the first wheel there come down under this plate, so we're going to have to remove this plate before we can take the spring out. So we'll take that nut, we'll loosen that nut off and remove that. Being very careful of the movement down there. Carefully lift it up because the wheels are in under this plate. We don't want them jumping out anywhere. I'll see if I can get a little bit better. There we go, purchase. Ah, they come off. Well, there you go. Those two pieces there are obviously spacers. So I'll put them in there. Now, this piece will come off. No dramas. And those two. And there we have the movement. All right, I'll take those out and put them aside. And then we're going to put them through the ultrasonic cleaner and clean them up. Now we should be able to take the first wheel out. That is pretty tight. See if we can get the loop end to move up a little bit. Yeah, it's not touching anywhere there. Maybe it just needs a little bit of assistance. We'll give it a little bit of help. The screwdriver blade will just turn it round because you can see it's starting to lift up. Fingers on the wheel and then lift that up. There we go, a little bit of tension in it left still. All right, there we have our little spring. There's the click I couldn't get to before and the click spring running around. They're in pretty good nick. I don't know that this has done a hell of a lot of work over its lifetime. The individual teeth on the ratchet don't appear to have any marks on them. They've all got their sharp tip on them. All right, that's good. Well, we'll take that apart later on, clean it, grease it and put it back together again. All right, there's our clock movement. All right, we'll remove the wheels now. There's a piece of my glove that disappeared. I'll have to change that later on. Put that aside. Now we'll take the wheels out. I'll just put them down there for the moment. And that guy there, yeah, that's right, should come out. And that guy there won't because it's got a wheel and a pinion on it. And they run through and operate over there. All right. Now because the hairspring and the pin pallet were working very well before, I'm not going to take them off. I'm going to leave them where they are, being very careful of them. I think what I've got to do now is undo those three little lugs there by sliding a thin bladed screwdriver under them so that we can remove that because we still have to take the hands off. And if I remove those three nuts there, I'll be able to take that plate off, but it's still contained underneath, joined underneath. I think that's got it now, I hope. Oh, that guy there's got to come back a little bit more. Being very careful not to damage the outside of the case there. No, that's still tight. That is not how we're going to get the hands off. I wonder if it just pushes down. It's off there, and there, and there, they're loose. But the hands are still on there and that has to come off because we want to get down inside there and we also want to polish this piece of brass around here that just spins round in my hand. So somehow I've got to get that glass off so that I can get at that knob on the hands there and remove that to take the hands off. Alright, well, I can't see any way that that's going to come off like so. So what I'll have to do is loosen these screws around here, 3 of them. One there, it's got him. And the other one there. And then we'll just lift that plate up and we'll see what that's going to do for us. I'll have to take this one off with a screwdriver because I can't get any closer to it and we don't want to damage it. The hairspring is just there. That one, turn him around, run that one off, put him in a little dish. Now this guy, rather intriguing, that hand situation with this. We might find a solution once we've taken this off. Right, now we want to remove that section there, hand right away from the hairspring. And no, that's not going to work either because, wait a minute, we found something. Yep, we found something. Didn't see it before, but I have now. There's a very small tapered pin there that's holding that wheel on, and it's got a small spring underneath it. All right, we'll take that out, holding the wheel. There it is, tiny little thing, done. Now, that wheel should come off. All right, we've taken the tapered pin out. Now we've got a tiny little washer there, and now we'll see if we can lift this wheel up, which it does come up. There it is. Put that over there, and that's a tension washer that sits underneath it. That should now slide up. It's all very yes it might and yes it mightn't. That's very interesting actually. They've made it pretty damn tricky to be able to get into the hands. That should now just slide up. There should be nothing holding that. There's a wheel and a pinion there, but they should just ride up on the pinion underneath there. You can see what I'm talking about there. It's a wheel there and the pinion, and that wheel is sitting on pinion there and the pinion sitting on the wheel there. So they're in the right direction, so that should just pull up. You can see how flexible it is, but something is holding it. Alright, looks like I've solved the problem. This pin here looks like it's supposed to be a screw. There's a very faint line on that, and that one there is smooth. There's nothing on that. And that one there has got no line on it either. So I wonder if this has been screwed in and screwed out a few times and someone has tried to polish it, and they've polished seriously and polished that thread off, because that's the only one that's got a vague look of a thread about it. I don't know that the thread on it is going to be deep enough for me to get a very fine screwdriver into it. No, there's not enough there. Well, wonder how we'll go. I'll get a flat-jawed pair of pliers that hasn't got any teeth on it, and I'll see if I can loosen it up a little bit so that we can see if it's going to turn or not. And I can't really get much of a grip on it either, but our only hope is to be able to get a grip on it with a pair of pliers and turn it out. I don't want to use pliers with teeth on them because they're going to make a mess of it. Well, that looks like that's the end of that. Though I don't think we're going to be able to take the hands off and the glass. That's a bit of a pain in the butt, isn't it? Because that's definitely how they come off. Because if you look in there, you can just see a little bit of a screw and a lip, and the end of that screw runs in about that far that I'm indicating with the tweezers. About 3 mil maybe. That's just enough to hold it on. They're definitely screws. They're not rivets or anything like that. Oh well, that's the end of that. We're obviously not going to get round to taking the face off. That is a nuisance, so I've got to reconstruct all that now and get it back together again, not having taken it apart. Right, let's get down there. Now we've got to wind those things back over again after all the drama I had trying to open them. Get the start of a bit of a bend on them, hopefully. And then this one here. I'd like to see those a little bit further over yet. What I'm going to have to do, I'll put a piece of cloth over the edge of the bezel there. So I want to be able to, yeah, that might have done it. I'll try that on each of these. That'll stop any marks coming up on the bezel and round it over a bit. Yep, phew, that's got it. That was a bit nerve-wracking, and it's a nuisance we can't take the glass off. But anyway, I'll run around that and clean that up a bit before we put it back together. So what I've got to do now is I've got to put these couple of parts back on here. Get those on, push the wheel down, and get our tiny little washer. Put that on top. There he goes. And now put that very tiny little tapered pin in.